How to pick the best parts for your gaming PC build. Guys, today I'm going to do a really amazing $1,600 approximately gaming PC build with really nice RGB effects and a rock solid graphics card. If you want to see more, stay tuned. But first, a quick word from today's sponsor, Lexar Memory. Many gamers and professionals already use Lexar to work quickly and efficiently because Lexar has a large selection of innovative storage products. And also thanks to Arctic Cooling for providing the Freezer Esports Duo, a powerful CPU cooler for the demanding user. And guys, I'm really excited about having picked these parts for this particular build. Very nice gaming PC with super nice RGB effects. And I picked a tower from Johnspo, the TK2, and yeah, it's a little bit more pricey, but as you can see, it's a premium case, it's rounded, and it's super nice to display these high-end RGB fans. We're putting in really one of the best RGB fans that I've ever seen in my life, and that's the Lian Li fans. And you can say $100 is a little bit more pricey than other ones, but these fans deliver. They look absolutely... Guys, if you know better RGB fans, let me know. I would be really curious, because these are really hard to beat. Next, we're using an ASUS power supply, the ASUS power supply 147, sometimes also a little bit cheaper, sometimes unavailable. So again, compare on Amazon and Newegg which offers you the better deal and where it is available. But the main point is it's an ATX 3.0 power supply, and I would encourage you, if you're doing a new build, get the ATX 3.0. There's still a lot of older units on the market that don't have the 16-pin HPVR, this high new graphics card connector that you need from the RTX 47 upwards. We're building this whole system since we already spent so much on the case and the power supply. That's a little bit more overweight. As you can see, 26% is more than I would usually spend on case and power supply. So we have to cut down a little bit somewhere else, since we also put in a beefy premium graphics card. So we're building this on AM4, still on the AM4 build. I like the Gigabyte Aura Sport. Again, also you might run into availability issues. I still got a really good deal on it for $127. I like 12 plus 2 phase power design on the board, which the Aorus has, which also the Asus that I tested had, so that could be an alternative option. And for the CPU, we taking the longtime favorite AMD Ryzen 5600X. That works really well and gives you solid frame rates. Of course, an X3D would be better, but again, then you would add to the cost. X3D, I've seen them for $300, sometimes a little bit lower, but thank you also to Lexar and Arctic. Lexar has provided the memory and the NVMe, and Arctic was so kind to send over their esports duo, which I've also tested with $500 AM5 CPUs. And I mean, this thing is a beast. It cools really well. Of course, considering also your situation in the case, not every case is the same, but at least for a 5600X, more than enough, very nice and quiet cooler. Considering NVMEs, guys, I also always harping on at this point. If you have an old NVMe, PCIe Gen 3, you could continue to use that. That work well. However, if you're building a new system, I recommend the Gen 4s. They're very affordable. Yes, there's Gen 5 as well, but in the AM4 it will not work because AM4 is only Gen 4, and the Gen 5 NVMe is very expensive still. And I'm a little bit doubtful on how fast you really need to go with that, and it probably makes more sense to to just stick with the Gen 4, and that's why the Lexar is actually a good fit. If you buy these, sometimes they're out of stock, so you have to look around a little bit. Sometimes they're available, sometimes they're not. Again, I put the links below, and you do not necessarily need, in my opinion, the model with the heatsink. If your main board, such as the Gigabyte, that has a cooler already available, so you can perfectly fine take the NM7090 without the heatsink and then use the motherboards / mainboards cooling element. That works great, especially since these Lexar NM790 NVMEs are one without a DRAM chip. They are using the host memory buffer, the HMB protocol, and utilizing the system memory. That's how I understood it. So that's also a consideration. Some MMVs have DRAM, others have the HBM. That's something you can keep in mind if you do make a purchase decision or if you're in the market. So graphics cards, I'm spending about 42% on the graphics card in this build, and I went with a Asus card. I really love these Asus cards. Asus does the cards very well, and I'm a particular fan of the ROG Strix gaming cards, simply because they have this RGB ring at the end, which fits perfectly, in my opinion, really nicely with the Lian Li fans and that case. Guys, I kid you not, you walk into the room and at night and you have these RGB effects go on. It's like, what's the right word? Candy to the eye. It's very pleasing to the eye, very appealing. If you're a lover of RGB effects, the Strix cards are amazing. Using a bigger card like the 4080, I'm not sure, especially with the Ryzen 5600X, because you could potentially run into bottlenecks. But that's what we're going to benchmark. I'm going to build it right now like this, a $1,600 build, and stay tuned for that. Here again, the pie chart, that's how I allocated it, and that's how I would recommend you do that. Just make a list. You can swap certain parts around and then make your own config. That's how I like to do it. This is just an example. So this was video 1. We picked the parts. Video 2, we built the system. And in video 3, we're going to benchmark everything. You can find that in the playlist below. I see you as a subscriber, and in the next video.